5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We are live. What is up, ATG fam? Welcome back to the show. We are on episode 61, second episode in the new studio. It's getting poppin'. I wanted to go full steam ahead. This is a new era. This is a new chapter against the grain. And the guests that I have lined up are just the most insane, coolest people that I know. I don't want to waste any more time, guys. I'm going to give my guest a special introduction. He is a person that I've known for a good portion of my life. I'll go into the details of how I know him, but most importantly, we're going to give him a chance to tell his story and put himself out there. And that's what this show is all about, guys. If you guys have not subscribed, I'm not asking you to subscribe. Actually, I am asking you to subscribe. It doesn't cost nothing, boys. Hit that subscribe button. Smash, smash, smash. All right. With no further notice, with no wait, our next guest is Carl Ntiforo, also known as DJ Epoch. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Yes, it's your time, baby.
So you know what I'm saying? Like,
dude.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm ready for his, praying. So I was like, let's go.
Hey, so I'm not gonna lie. You're probably the most fresh guest that we've had on the podcast. So congratulations.
I
mean, you're rocking with the blazer. You got the bolo. Oh my God, man. Is there anyone more fresh than this homie right here? And he's got the sideways bandana front, Tupac style.
You know what? Because, I ain't Tupac, and I ain't going to go through in the front and put it directly in the front. No pun intended, know what I mean? I put it off to the side.
He's being humble. He's being humble.
I'm my own man, you know what I'm saying?
He's his own.
Yeah.
Hey, so Carl, man, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being a guest.
It's my pleasure.
I appreciate that, man.
I've been waiting for this. I've been a guy who appreciates a good podcast.
Heck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Mike Tyson has his own podcast where he's
shout out to the Hot Box.
That Hot Box, that's what it, you know what I'm saying? And we have ourselves the Power.
We got the ATG box.
And that's what it is. It is what it is. Like Tony Yayo says. He was on the Breakfast Club 105, Power 105.
Yeah. And Tony Yayo?
Yeah, on Power Power 1051, which is Charlamagne and the crew.
Yeah.
Angela Yee. She branched out, did her own thing and whatnot. But you know what? This is the platform.
Hey man, I hope you've had a good time so far.
This is a beautiful place.
I hope you like the new studio. We've been chilling all night. We busted a couple freestyles to get in the zone before the pod.
AKA, you gave me my inspiration.
That's just how we roll. Carl, I mean, a lot of our guests, it's scary putting yourself out there, once you tell your story to the internet, it's out there forever.
Facts.
And Carl, he's a deep he's a deep individual. Yeah, you're controversial.
If
you're not,
that's the number one thing I say about. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's the number one thing I would say about myself.
That's the prerequisite for ATG is controversial. So you check the box. But I'm just saying, you think of things backwards, frontwards, sideways. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you were, you before the pod, you're like, oh man, I'm like, don't worry, man, I got you. We'll chill. We'll give you a chance to tell your story. I kind of wanted to start off this podcast light noted. I want to kind of to explain to our audience how we know each other.
For sure.
That's and then we'll kind of go from there. Obviously I introduced you as a DJ, an artist. We'll get into that. But so I'll just kind of start it off. So Carl,
from the beginnings, humble beginnings.
Yeah, and the mic, it makes a little bit of noise. So when you put your hand on it,
I'm sorry.
Just be careful.
This is the stupid ring.
That's a little good luck charm right there too. So he's got your back. See the little guy hanging right there?
Yeah, for sure.
So Carl, and some of my good friends know. So I know Carl. Actually, I was good friends with his brother. So I was really good friends with Kyle Ntiforo. He was rolling with Martin Jurado, and Kyle. So here's the thing. So Kyle and
a lot of them.
Kyle and Martin were 3 years older than me. in high school. We all went to the same high school.
For sure.
Kyle was like the Black Superman. This guy was like indestructible.
Two-time state champion.
Yeah, he was a monster. And so, anyways, I'm hyping him up because he really was like Superman.
And that's how I saw him.
Yeah.
And that's how, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's...
Yep.
Hey.
So anyway,
real recognize real.
So anyways, Carl, he's a little bit younger than me. So I was like the little kid. Kyle and Martin were older than me. I would always hang out with them. You know, I was only 18 when I graduated high school, but they were old enough to go into clubs and stuff. So
21.
I would hang out with them for the pregame, you know? Like they would go to the clubs and I'd be like, oh, all right, man.
While I'm still in high school.
Yeah.
Sophomore, I 15 years old.
Yes. So Carl was a little, he was a little behind us, but you were still like a G, you know? I knew you.
I was the younger brother.
You were.
You know what I'm saying? Kyle was the guy.
But you got a lot of him in you, I could tell, man, just by talking to you.
Thank you.
And so, anyways, that's kind of how I know Carl is. You know, we were these like 3 years apart crew. Carl was 3 years younger than me, and you know, here we are years later, man. And now it's like once you're past like 20, 25, it doesn't matter if you're 3 years apart or 10.
I think it's more than that. I think it's just taking you graduate
like 21 maybe. Yeah, high school. That's true.
How many of your high school friends that you talk to every single day?
Yeah.
That's what it was for me. That's how it is for me.
You're right.
It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's Vitamin C's song like Graduation Day. It's a cliche.
Yeah.
You know? Everyone knows that song, but it's iconic because of that true but unfortunate fact. After high school, do you really talk to the same people? Because for me, my path was go to the military right away.
Right.
I ended up, enlisting into the Air Force, and so time goes by.
Right.
Every single year counts, and
Yep.
that's why I'm trying to say is that ultimately it starts at 18.
Yeah. After 18. That's when you really kind of find out who you really kind of roll with.
You're experimenting.
Well, you stop following the crowd.
Yes,
You're not you're not hanging out with the crew. You're like, what do I really like? Right. You know, like, do I like hanging out with this crew? Like, they talk about the same 3 things every weekend. Like, I'm kind of bored.
And it's all negative.
Yeah.
So you go through and choose.
So Kyle and Martin were my crew after high school. So, like, I knew that they were my people I connected with.
Exactly.
And, you're like an extension of Kyle. And, hats off to you, man. I could just tell that you guys got good...
That's all I could...
I'm getting emotional talking about it, but...
That's just it. Personally, to me, you saying that means the world to me. And
keep this about a fist away. And I got you.
Okay, I feel you on that.
Nah, it sounds a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. I should know better. I shouldn't call myself DJ Epoch, a person who wants to go through and release an album, this and that and the other.
Yeah.
Without knowing the ins and out of how a microphone... You know what? Keep me on my game.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You inspired me.
So, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
You inspired me today alone just to go through and continue being who I am, which is the foundation of everything, which is after high school, who you're going to be.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you were. And Kyle and Martin, they go through and continue being friends. Hats off to the late, great Matt Adams, who was part of that crew as well. There's a gentleman by the name of Diego Gabaldon, which I wish I can go through and just sit down and have a conversation with.
Yo, D-Gab's watching this. I know he does. He was actually a guest if you want
to. Well, you know what? If he doesn't go through and follow me on Instagram, if he has not sent out a DM, you know what I'm saying? Slide into. It is what it is.
You better step up, bro.
But again, this entire legacy dies when people do stuff like that, and I should know. I'm half Navajo, and when you think about what happened, what's been happening, and what's current going on in the political climate in the Navajo Nation, this is small potatoes compared to that, and so that's why I say it's just that. I'll admit, nobody's perfect. I have my apologies to make.
Hey man, that makes you human. That makes you normal.
I'm gonna
no
go
one's
through
perfect.
And, what I'm saying, my apology type of list is relatively long, and I'm gonna go through and start my tour, my apology tour, starting now. I mean, that's what
Hey,
it
that
becomes.
sounds like a.
Isn't this the best?
That's like the name of a tour. Like when you start your hey, this is the apology tour.
Isn't this the best?
The
place
apology
to start?
tour starts now with ATG Pod.
This is where it started. This is the best place to start. If I've ever, I don't know if I can curse on this podcast.
Yeah, dude, of course. Be yourself.
But it's one of those things to where if I've ever fucked
Sorry,
over
Mom.
a person,
I'm just kidding.
I ain't sorry to my mom. I'm 21 Savage.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I met
I'm
his mom
21,
tonight, and she's very nice. I love her.
But I've been mean to her.
Don't be mean to your mom, bro.
That's Navajo type of ideology.
Hey, so can you explain? So you're half Navajo and half
Navajo and half Ghanaian, which is
the
West
golden.
Africa.
What were you saying?
It's the Gold Coast.
It's the Gold Coast of Africa.
Unfortunately,
That's like the.
when we think about the Atlantic slave trade.
Yeah.
Think about it. What was one of the first 13 colonies? You know what I'm saying? You think about the East Coast.
That's true.
So there was that destination, the ultimate destination for slaves. We think about the Gold Coast. I'm Ghanaian.
Yeah.
That was the place where they would go through and do trade with the last of the triangle, which would be England and whatnot. You think about the ammunition, London, all. But either way,
It's crazy that you're like half and half of two of like the most persecuted groups. You know what I mean?
I'm between a pimp and a hard place sometimes.
But that's
sometimes.
that's like what makes you so unique. Like, look at this guy's jewelry. This guy's rocking bolos.
I got both.
This guy's rocking Navajo bolos. This guy's got the watch, and he's. I mean, I was telling him
I'm
earlier.
half Navajo and half, Ghanaian, because I'm proud of both heritages, and it's one of those things to where
This guy's got the genetics of a freaking superhuman. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
If this guy were to take off his shirt right now, all the ladies would be sliding in this guy's DMs.
Well, that's me even at my worst. But when I was at my best,
This guy comes from a family of bodybuilders. Can I say that?
yeah, I love that. My uncle's JoJo.
Yeah.
I'm very,
Like
very
professional bodybuilders
IFBB.
take it very serious.
Here's the difference. Everybody
What was the
wants,
name? What was it?
That's the federation. Like if you were a professional basketball, everyone's a professional.
What's it called? I am what?
IFBB.
IFBB.
International Federal Bodybuilder.
Not ATG.
But everybody wants to say they're a professional football player around here.
I'm gonna make sure it's still rolling.
Yeah, you good. And everybody wants to go through and act like they're a professional football player, etc. But unless you really play for the NFL, are you a professional? That's acknowledged.
Right.
IFBB's acknowledged.
That's like you got the stamp of approval.
You know what I'm saying? And if you compete at the Super Bowl, if you compete...
I'm gonna share this guy's little highlight video from like 2 years ago. This guy's like got 150 pound dumbbells, like repping 10.
I got injured. Hey, America. The world.
No, the world, bro.
I got injured. I tore my quadricep tendons. There's my quadricep tendon in 2019 on the eve of the pandemic. There are 4 muscles in your quad, and 3 3/4, the doctor said, were torn. So the outside, the very, very outside of my left leg, which is like your, it's like a band, the very last piece that attaches to your tendon on your kneecap, all my quad had to be repaired.
That's like one of the biggest muscles, isn't
That
it?
is a bigger surgery, a harder surgery to recover from.
Did you tear it squatting?
I tore it doing plyometrics.
What the hell?
But then again, like you said, I'm a beast who can both squat 500 pounds.
That's how it happened. That's life. That's like God just like
But also,
saying that's how life is.
If you want to do one thing, do one thing. That's the advice I can give to anyone.
It's hard, man.
No, but if you want to do one thing.
If you want to be perfect at one thing, you gotta stick with it.
Because at the time, I was, 230 pounds.
So I remember going to hardcore gym, which you guys had a big part in.
Yeah.
And I remember when you were younger, and you and your younger brother Franco.
That was 2019. I'm so sorry.
No, this was like 2000. Yeah, 14.
Right after my brother passed.
You guys were
2015.
Oh my God, you guys
2015. Right after my brother passed, me and my younger brother Franco, we would go through and hit the gym in Kyle's memory.
Yeah. And I don't think
Those
we
are the
kind
most
of
freakish results that we've ever.
Oh, dude, I
gotten
can't
out of
even
life.
imagine how much energy and motivation you
And how
guys
much
had.
time. We're talking about me and my younger brother out of anger, out of just the fact that we have to let go. Mm-hmm. Our brother passed away. How can we
Cope.
do his memory justice?
Yeah.
Because think about it. Earlier that year, he went through and took my younger brother Franco to Pittsburgh to compete in the 2014 NPC Nationals, teen nationals. I should make that caveat.
Wow.
Because he had already won the New Mexico and Mid-USA competition that's held annually over here. And he won the open division, not the teen division. He was beating grown-ass men.
That's insane, dude.
And we're talking about my younger brother. So if you were younger to the Martin, Diego Gabaldon, Matt Adams, RIP to him, this whole entire crowd, if you're younger to him, I'm younger than you.
Yeah.
We're talking about a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So a 16-year-old in 2013, a 16-year-old bested every single man who works out at Defined Fitness, who works out
That's insane.
Who works out at Planet Fitness and all these big...
I know like the viewers like who you know aren't really familiar with bodybuilding, whatever.
Sure.
Fitness, what he just described is basically unheard of.
Exactly.
That's like
it's Kobe
it's
Bryant.
Unknown. Like
it's Kobe Bryant going from high school to the pros. You know,
and destroying everyone.
Well, that came later, but you're on a good track if a high schooler goes straight to the pros and whatnot. And my younger brother was well on his way to that. 2000.
And Kyle helped him get there.
Yes.
And he was willing to put himself out there and take him out there.
Yeah, and so that's why I say it's just that.
Yeah.
The fact that you know Kyle, you know all these greats. I'm not a legend, not yet. I don't claim to be.
Yeah.
And if you say I have a little bit of Kyle in my blood, in my veins, and the way I act, the way I carry myself, then I should only be so blessed and thankful to you.
You should be proud.
And that's what I say.
That's why I feel so comfortable hanging out with you, even though it's been so long, is because me and Kyle used to kick it all the time and stuff, you know?
Exactly. And so you don't... Life's like a box of chocolate. You never... Hey...
And
I was going to use the accent,
you dropped some names. Obviously we're talking about Kyle. You brought up Matt Adams.
Yes.
These are two very good friends. Matt Adams.
Of yours.
Matt Adams, especially, I grew up with and used to be my best friend all growing up. The reason that we got so close is because his grandparents.
Oh, you knew? Okay, you knew his grandparents and everything. Okay.
So Matt used to stay at my house all growing up, like through middle school, freshman. And
mind blown because
it's so funny. You want to know how close of friends we were?
Yes.
So you know me, I'm a wrestler, right?
Yes.
And I'm all about combat sports. I'm all about basketball is the least thing that I'm good at. Guess who convinced me to join a 3-on-3 tournament with them? Matt Adams.
Are you talking about the one?
It was it was like a big church thing. It was like an open tournament. And guess who took first?
You guys. Matt is...
Dude, and you want to know the funniest thing? And I don't even know if I've told this on the pod, but Matt, of course, scored like all of our baskets. No, but listen to this. I couldn't shoot, but I could steal the ball. I was a wrestler. I could get low.
Defense.
And I stole... So get this, though. I didn't make any baskets, but on the last game, Matt stole the ball and just passed it to me, and I made the game-winning shot, dude. I lucked out and just locked it. Yeah, we won the tournament.
Wait, so the score is either tied or you guys are behind as Matt...
Yeah, it was very even, yeah. And Matt just like threw it to me, and I think I threw it like a football, dude, and it just sunk. But Matt had trust in me, you know what I mean? So we were like that, we were tight.
That is amazing. That is probably one of the best stories I've heard.
Dude, especially if you know me, knowing like my background. Like
I do. And that's what I'm saying.
Anything about basketball.
Wrestling is a whole different beast from basketball.
Yeah, but the whole thing is like... Me and Matt, the reason what brought us so close together is our parents went to the same church. Okay. So we were both being fed the gospel. The gospel together and growing up as young men together. So so when you have that and you're learning how to be a man at the same time as someone else, you have like a special bond. You know what I mean?
I 100%.
And so me and Matt shared that, and so that's why when we talk about him, and him and Kyle, you know, we haven't really brought it up on the pod, but Matt and Kyle are no longer with us, and you know, it's hard to talk about because Kyle is your brother and Matt's one of my best friends, but
I respect you enough to not only be able to go through and muscle through that right now, and you know, what do you want to talk about? Like, we talking about that. I respect you for what you know. What would seem as though waiting until my episode, but it was never. It's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
You were close with Matthew Adams, and I know he had a birthday. He has a birthday October, right? That's whenever he's born. He passed July and whatnot, and so if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But this is just a minute to recognize that life is too short to go through and forget where you came from.
Right.
One. Belen, that's the city. That's where we grew up. We talk about these stories.
That's where the roots.
And that's what I'm saying. We take it for granted. We take these stories for granted. Make no mistake, Belen is a very close knit community. Mm-hmm. And if that's where you met Matt, and Matt used to always kick it with you in a wrestler's hitting a game-winning shot. That's what it blows my mind. But keep in mind that I'm even younger than that. So when you compare yourself to my late older brother's age group, and high school is that.
Right.
The freshmen don't hang out with the seniors.
Yeah. Yeah, you were always Kyle's younger brother for the longest time.
Even while I was in high school.
But dude, one thing I will say though,
I went to ninth grade and he was graduating.
Yeah, he was. And I was already a junior.
But he could be in college. I could start high school, and I'm still Kyle's younger brother.
Bro. Hey, and one thing I will say is Kyle always uplifted you and Franco.
He did.
Anytime we're in the gym, anytime we're kicking it, he's like, yo. He looked at you through the lens of highest potential.
Yes.
And he said, oh my God, Carl, you won't believe this guy. He's been doing this, he's been doing that. You know, me and Martin will be hanging out. And I'm like, dude. So it made me a fan of you. You know, you were like my little bro. I was like, dang, this guy's what's up.
It'll make me a little bit bring out the emotion. Because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Kyle believed that I could do anything I wanted to do.
Right. He was a father figure.
And that's what I said in his eulogy.
Yeah.
In front of my father.
Right.
And that's my upbringing, childhood, etc. And I've never said that on a big scale level.
Yeah.
But it might be distasteful to some.
Mm-hmm.
To some cultures.
Right.
I should know. I'm half Navajo. You respect your elders.
Right.
However, I will just go through and just say that is my truth. And as much as Josh hypes up Kyle, that gives ATG in all of its majesty that credit. It's real. It's the truth. It's not skewed. When we think about news these days, Fox versus CNN.
Right.
What is real these days?
For real though.
Does Donald Trump have to go through and is he guilty? Is he innocent? Was he?
I feel like we're watching a TV show at this point.
But I want to talk about that because I want to be able to point people to the truth.
Right.
Lead people to the promised land, as it were. That's what this platform is, and that's why I'm honored.
Hey, man, I
don't care how long it took for you to get me here. I don't care how long it took for me to muster up the courage to reach out to a good friend. It takes a lot
to put yourself out there.
It does, and I think that's what it was, because it was nothing to reach out to a good friend, which I consider you.
Of course, bro.
but it becomes me reaching out to you, a very good friend of mine, to be able to have substance, because identity and substance go hand in hand, and if a person has no identity, they're not going to have a substance.
That's true.
I'm not wasting your time. I'm damn sure not going to waste ATG time.
There's no such thing, bro.
No, there is, because I've seen the bar you've set. Like I said, out of any podcast, if I could name a top 5 list, this is on it. This is the first stop of my apology tour, and I mean that.
That means a lot to me, bro.
From the bottom of my heart.
That really does.
And that's why I said that you were willing to talk about my brother.
Yeah.
You were willing to go through and
hey,
recognize all that
man,
stuff.
and I know that's a touchy subject, but I just feel like we'd be doing Kyle and Matt disrespect if we didn't at least give him honor, you know? Especially because
it's the truth.
It's been so long since we kicked it and stuff, but...
And it's the truth. And that's what happened. You can't erase him from memory.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to kind of switch gears, though.
Yes.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So I introduced you as DJ Epoch.
That is true.
When did this persona take over? Where did DJ Epoch come from? Can you give us a little background on when you started your music career?
I love it. And that's just it.
Because this is new to me. I mean, I've always known you for who you are. But when you said you've been producing, you've been making music, you might have a mixtape album on the way. It caught me off guard. I was like, dang.
And that's people work in silence.
Yeah.
That's how it works. During the pandemic, that's when it happened. It happens for different times for different people. We know Eazy-E's story because we all, maybe not all of us, but if you watch the movie Straight Outta Compton, you know Eazy-E's story and how NWA type of deal evolved. With the same thing with 50 Cent. People have their stories. My story is that, yes, I was Kyle's younger brother. And I say that's the thing that irked me. People didn't acknowledge me, and keyword acknowledge.
There was always that comparison.
Exactly. I'm an individual.
It's so hard, man.
And so everybody has to have that trial and tribulation there, maybe that time or when it happens. And so it just so happens that my brother passed, that this happened, that happened. And so the pieces of the puzzle are so much that my brother passes away. That leaves a young adolescent, 19 years old, without a father figure. I don't care. And with an I don't care attitude, it just becomes you can do and you, moreover, you do.
Right.
I ain't saying do, but you do what you want.
Yeah. And at the same time,
that's identity. That's identity, right? You find your identity during that time.
Even with two parents, even with father figures, it's hard to find your identity. But you gotta decide, who am I gonna be? Am I gonna try and be exactly like this person? Am I gonna be kind of like this person but make my own brand? Well, even as a 30-year-old male, I'm still trying to figure it out. And what I told you even before the podcast is because me and you were both in a similar situation where we're both trying to fill shoes that are extremely big.
I think a lot of people have that.
And we all have that. Everyone has that person that they want to be like.
A legacy, right?
So in your case, it's your brother Kyle. Yes. In my case, it's my dad, and we were kind of both chatting back and forth, and I told you that when things started working out for me is whenever I started to stop trying to be like someone else and just go down my own path.
But when does one know when it's working out for them? Like
you said, you have your own code. You stick to your code, and you keep that as your
foundation.
North, south, east, west.
Your North Star, your foundation.
You keep that, and then you follow your own path. As soon as you go away from that code, though, that's whenever things get kind of wishy-washy. You know what I mean?
I didn't. However, after tonight, after and this is what I told my younger brother, Franco, who works for the New Mexico Department of Transportation, New Mexico DOT. I don't have very many sophisticated conversations anymore. As you get older, you outgrow people.
Right.
And we go circle back around to how many people you talk to from high school and stuff like that. Oh, wow. And so now I'm going to have to go through and reflect tonight. Because that right there, what you just said, I don't have an answer for that. That's right. I mean, things start going wrong in my life. I have to go through, and my brother's been gone for next year, and the year 2024 is going to be a decade since I lost my big in my eulogy. A person who I not only saw as my big brother, obviously, my best friend, but also someone who I saw as a father figure. I said that in front of my dad, who, he was high at the time. You know, you think about black statistics and all this kind of dumb stuff and whatnot. Like, there's real stuff that, you know, happens in this world, and you never wish it happens to you. What you wish is, maybe if it does happen to you, it's temporary.
Right.
But you, at some point, you just gotta call a spade a spade.
You have to call a spade a spade.
And so,
and it's hard not to get angry as a young male, because that's your first response, right?
And while doing it, and while calling a spade a spade, ever. That's even in manhood.
Right.
That's me right now, present day. If we go through and talk about, you know, more events that's going on in my life right now, and how because that was a big, we'll say PTSD. When we think about PTSD, there are many events that trigger PTSD, maybe lifelong. That was one of my first tests.
Right.
And there may be people who smoke weed habitually, people who drink habitually, that can relate to this episode and understand that I didn't always live my life like this.
Right.
But things build on another.
That's true.
And that was one of my first big boy doses of PTSD. So that's why I can go through and say that ultimately I can live with his memory.
Yeah.
And I thought that I've mastered all these lessons.
Right.
A good point. Touche.
Yeah.
I have to reflect on, like, sticking to the foundation.
You have to.
The fundamentals.
Lay the hey man, no house stands on a beach. You got to lay down the ground that you build your house on.
Yes.
And then from there, work up.
But what if you go through and forget a lesson down the road?
Call me. You call people. You got to find your way back home.
That's what I had to
do. You keep your mom close.
Apologies.
You got to call Franco.
Apology tour.
Hey, the apology tour. ATG 2023. This is where it starts.
And that's what I needed. From a good person.
And honestly,
good man like you.
It takes a lot. Like I said, sorry for all the noise. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and open up about things like this, especially on a public platform. But you know what? This is for a young audience.
Yes.
Who may be going through stuff similar to Carl's situation.
Who want to give up.
You might be going through this at an even younger age. You might only be 13 thinking, what the heck?
Yes.
My dad ain't in my story. My uncle, all these people that are supposed to give me guidance. You know what? And I'll just say, for my own personal experience, thank you, Carl. My true father is my Father in heaven. And that's why my G code is the Bible.
It's the code.
So that's my roots. Like, anytime it's going too far from that, and you know, anyone who knows me knows that I am not perfect. Okay, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've been this perfect. People know me from throwing the biggest parties. People know me from doing all kinds of chaotic acts growing up. I'm not gonna. But
I knew you was that.
But whenever I had those low moments, I always knew where my North Star was. That was a perfect example.
I love that.
You got to make your North Star and say, okay, for the rest of my life, this is what it's gonna be.
I love that.
You know.
I love that.
So don't ever lose track of that. As soon as that North Star is out of your sight, then that's when you know you got to turn around.
And this is stuff for the listeners. But I can speak to only what happens when you do fall from your roots and whatnot and, stray away from that. I can only speak to the consequences of your actions.
Right.
And maybe the way back. The way back.
And before you even do that, guys,
don't fall off the code.
No, but there's no... As long as you're still breathing and sucking air in life, it's not too late to change the path that you're on.
Amen.
It doesn't matter if you've done the most insane crime. It doesn't matter what you've done to people. You know, the devil wants to convince you that what you've done is worth going to hell, and he wants to make you feel bad about yourself and be alone and isolate yourself.
Make it feel like it's permanent, like it's done, it's done.
Yep, that's it. Like, that's it. Your life's ruined.
Yeah, right.
Might as well just hit rock bottom.
It brainwashing your head. It's done.
But that's doubt.
Exactly.
There. You know what? This is what I will always say.
Right there.
But dude, we were just talking about our superheroes and all this stuff before this. What are the superheroes that you relate to the most? The anti-heroes. Because they're the ones who have hit rock bottom and have made mistakes, but they still got that good in them. You're still rooting for them.
They're pushing through.
Exactly.
And they're looking cool doing it.
Shout out to Venom.
Shout out to my bandana.
Hey, shout out to the Hulk. Shout out to the
DJ mother.
Hey, shout out to DJ Epoch,
you gotta
bro.
have the Burberrys. You go on ATG, you're gonna go through and you.
It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster.
Grants you fashion. He grants you fashion. Let's put it that way.
Hey, bro, take off the blazer. Let's see the true fit
the
right
African.
Because I want to see that. When we rolled up with this, when this guy was wearing that fit, I was like, damn, bro. I'm over here repping Maui though. Shout out to the locals.
Hey, ain't no shame in your game. It's just how you want to present yourself.
Hey, but
the pants.
Damn, dude. Okay, dude, you gotta show me off that. I didn't really.
Oh, one more step. It's just shoes.
Oh, damn.
You gotta have the Airs, the Nike Airs.
Did he just throw the shoe on the... That was epic. I think you're the first guest to throw your foot on the table like that.
But I say, I don't know if you know Dragon Ball Z or not. Broly is a character and whatnot.
Is he the bald guy?
Broly is the guy who hates Kakarot. Like, Kakarot sets him off and he goes into that crazy... There's Super Saiyan level and then...
Chaos level.
Yeah, right. We can't control it.
Good guys can't even get there.
We can't control it. Nobody's gonna be able to calm you down or be able to get in your face and say, "Hey, I'm your best friend." It's the same thing as Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, which is.
And that was the first. So all of my guests, I'm gonna just do a little segue. So
really?
There's two traditions that are part of the ATG podcast, and the first one is I have the Marvel DC wall, as you can see. You guys can't see unless you're a guest.
It's magic.
And all of the vintage
amazing
comic book covers are on there. So I always tell my guests, pick your top two, and depending on who you choose, I'm gonna judge you. I always say that.
He does
It makes me a little nervous.
But you know what? He is a G.
Yeah.
And
so
he knows he don't. Nobody's perfect, and he ain't gonna judge nobody.
That's true. I know. I always just say that to build up anticipation.
Yeah, right. But you know what? It's Marvel, DC. And it's a vast wall that you can go through and really understand.
Yeah.
You watch these things. Who do you really resonate with as an adult?
That's true. And I was telling you, as you're an adult, the ones that you can relate to the most are like the anti-heroes. Because they're like, damn.
Every time.
I've been doing bad, but I'm still kind of good. But I'm... No, so you chose Bruce Banner. That was your choice.
Yes.
And you kind of said that that's the one that you most relate to. You have, You have the Bruce Banner side, and then you have the Hulk side.
But that's funny that you should say that. You said Bruce Banner. Because I resonate with Bruce Banner, the scientist.
Yeah.
The intelligent man.
For those of you guys that don't know, this guy's a mathematician wizard. This guy literally, Kyle.
I can tell you why this...
If I could build, my perfect, character in a video game, it'd be these guys over here. You and Kyle... Half Native American, half African, super smart. Can you just like create your own superhero now?
I remember you saying.
How sick is that?
That's what DJ Epic is.
That is DJ Epic. And let's talk about that a little more. So
during the pandemic, you know,
is that whenever you kind of first started playing with producing and going into the music genre, like 2019?
Yes, 100%.
Because that's whenever I first started the podcast.
2020, and I'll say it's based off of circumstances that the stars aligned.
Right.
That's it. It's out of luck. The stars have to align. It has to be your time. And for those who may not know what that means, I'm going to briefly just say that in 2016, I had a car accident. It was what would have killed most people, but at the time I told you in 2015, I was too busy training my hardest, this and that. People in the military would say I had no neck and whatnot in 2014 and whatnot. And so I've always been the guy who took the gym very seriously because my uncle is an IFBB pro.
Right.
Moreover, he's been on the Mr. Olympia stage.
That blows my mind, by the way.
The Mr. Olympia stage is the highest honor. Like, JoJo and Ntiforo, thank you. Yeah, and that's exactly what it deserves, is a round of applause, you know? I think that everybody should buy a copy of a DVD of the 2014 Mr. Olympia because, especially if you're from New Mexico, because that's the representative.
There's a lot of our followers who are really into fitness. And
it just has to be fitness because the DVD encapsulates all of it. Men's physique, women's fitness, women's physique, which my sister won Miss USA. The same thing my brother won in the open men's division.
Right. She won? No way, dude.
She really? Won 2015. So we have a 2013 16-year-old winner.
Oh my god.
And we have a 2015-year-old winner. But she was in her 20s.
Shout out to the Ntiforos.
Cheyenne, right? Cheyenne Ntiforo. Go follow her. I don't know. But
shout out to Cheyenne. No, but for real.
And that's what I'm saying.
You guys, I know we're kind of talking about it just super casually, but this is like a really big deal.
It does.
Like you guys coming from a lineage of bodybuilders.
And so
physique, everything.
So it comes easy to us Ntiforos.
Right.
People all around New Mexico in every single gym are spending every single day of, every hour, every day to go through and get their diet right.
Right.
They're trying to get this, that, and the other right.
Right.
And to me, it does come easy to me, and I do take that for granted oftentimes. My uncles, both JoJo, who's a professional, and my uncle, who's has some the most successful personal training types of facility businesses
in New Mexico.
Those two gifted me their knowledge. And so I know where to start. Yeah. With a diet. Right.
There's that foundation. Exactly. That baseline.
And that's exactly what I'm doing now. And here in 2023. Because, R.I.P. to the great Biggie Smalls, this and the other, but ladies loved Cool J for a reason. That's why he's LL Cool J. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And so I say, nobody wants an out-of-shape rapper.
That's true.
And so I'm coming back strong. And I gotta say that, my uncles, they went through and did a lot for the family. But make no mistake, my father taught my uncles. Yeah. True story.
What do you think?
My father got them their first weight set, got them in. So my uncle JoJo, who was at the Mr. Olympia, says to publicly in I think it's a Muscle magazine or something like that.
Muslim?
Muscle.
Oh, Muscle.
Muscle Mag. There was Muscle and Fitness.
My hearing is so off, dude.
Nah, it's my speaking.
I've been out in the sun all day. I think I got like 2 brain cells.
There's Muscle Mag, and there's like all these muscle magazines and whatnot. My uncle in 2008 made a statement saying that he wouldn't have been a pro, let alone
name dropped your dad. That's OG. Brother.
And so that's the Hulk.
Carl
acknowledges and respects my father for what he did to
but this is
a trickle down effect.
So right? there's 2 paths you could take. There's the Carl that can look at all the negatives that all these people did in your life.
I look at the positives.
And then there's the Carl that can take...
That's the whole DJ Epoch takes on a whole new persona.
And I think that's the path that you're on.
That is.
You know what? And that's the best path that you could take. You know what I mean?
I like that.
You can make every excuse. You could, hey, this guy didn't do this. You know what I mean? But you're taking, this guy taught me this. I'm gonna use this.
Yes.
I got this. I'm adding this to my armor. Right. I got this mental state from Kyle.
It is what
all
it
these
is.
Crazy things. You're like building yourself up as this. Not only for physique but mental health.
Yes, and for what I want to do.
Right.
Remember, the end game is to succeed in whatever endeavors that I want to do.
Right.
So,
Carl, I don't even think you even realize the potential you have, bro. The life that you live, the identity that you have, the look that you have, like you are your own brand that no one else can imitate.
And this is the brand that started in 2020.
And the fact that you're here putting yourself out there on the ATG pod, it makes me honored, bro, because one of these days we're going to look back at this in about 10 years. Be like, yo, remember we were all young, bro, chopping it up on the pod.
You're going to be in the same boat, though.
Yeah. Hey, man, I don't know. I'm chilling, man. I'm not trying to...
I'm looking forward to that. And that's just it, I do think the people who got me here, who gave me knowledge of not only identity. Identity is that's single-handedly the number one thing I would say a man, woman, any person. We can talk LGBTQ, or you can talk, man.
Yeah, no, it's one of the biggest topics of today.
That's the biggest thing that a soul needs to find out and understand is their identity.
And if you look at the people who are the most peaceful in life and the people who aren't so angry and I don't know how to say it, but the people who are the most peaceful and you think of a tame lion,
they hold the most resentment.
Yeah, but if you think of the people who are the most calm and comfortable are the people who already know who they are inside.
Yes.
But people who are still trying to find their identity, they're so affected by things around them.
Yes.
Oh, I'm this. You made me but if you know who you truly are,
they play
stuff should just
game.
Bounce off of you. You know what I mean?
People love to play the blame game.
Like if someone were to come up to me, let's say tomorrow, hey bro, I watched your podcast. You freaking suck. You're a loser, dude. It would just bounce right off of me because I'm having fun with this. It doesn't.
Amen.
But do you know what I'm saying?
Amen.
This is the coolest thing about this podcast is even if this was cut and we just can, this is my excuse to hang out with you one-on-one.
This is why I wanted to, hang out with you is because I felt as though this was the only way that it was worthy of your time.
Hey man, you don't got to say that though.
If that makes sense.
But it's a good excuse to hang out, and I appreciate you hitting me up.
As people get older, yes, you can have friends. But why do friends grow apart? Oftentimes it's because their paths in life are not in line. They're not parallel. We're not going to see you next day in Blend High School, Blend Middle School, or just small potatoes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see you tomorrow in lecture in college.
Right.
People have that luxury in college. But as you grow up and you become your own, it becomes... Carl Ryan Kwapina. I was born on Tuesday. That's the Ghanaian Kwapina Ntiforo.
Going up on a Tuesday.
Yeah. So that person has his own struggles, personally, family wise, and etc. What have you. However, like I taught my young nephew, my oldest siblings. So both my sisters. They're both older than me. They're both older siblings. But they both have children. One child each. And my oldest... that's how it goes. As an uncle, anyone who does not put the nephew on game or niece...
Yo, you got to be that uncle, bro.
You have to.
You have to.
Because if not you, then who?
Dude, I can't tell you how many uncles I'm like, that guy taught me a lot.
Boom.
And they teach you they teach you the stuff that your dad can't teach you, but more about.
Won't teach
like,
you.
hey,
He
don't
can
tell
teach
your
that.
dad this.
Yeah, but
we're gonna-
my dad's ashamed of half the shit he did, so he ain't gonna teach
You know,
me
I'm gonna
shit.
do a shout out right now, and he's not my uncle, but he was a big inspiration in my life, and I know he's watching this pod. Shout out to Joe Baca. I just made him a custom basketball jersey, and he's been
like that.
supporting me from day one.
I like that.
And he's been one of the OGs in my life.
I like that.
He taught me how to talk to girls.
And that's
He taught me how to break dance. He taught me how to basically just be myself, man. Seriously.
the best.
And I'm gonna have him on a guest. I'm gonna have him on as a guest, but I'm waiting till snowboarding season.
Okay.
This is gonna be
Why is that?
this is gonna be the first year that I go back in 2.5 years
Back
since
where?
I've been injured snowboarding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's one of my best hobbies, and I
know.
haven't been able to go for about 3 years.
See, I know one of your good friends, Martin, and
Yeah.
whatnot, and I know he's been snowboarding and whatnot. I had no clue.
Yeah.
3 years?
Yeah, man.
Why?
I had to lose 6 of my ribs. They took out 6 of my ribs from an injury. So I've been out of the game for a little bit, but I've been back in the gym. And I told Joe I want to hit the slopes with him one weekend, and then the next weekend we're on the pod, and it'll be a redemption
Yes.
story.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
That's
Everyone
beautiful.
loves a good redemption
That's
story.
beautiful. That's beautiful, and that's substance.
And you better wear that custom jersey on the episode, bro. I got him
Exactly.
Lobo colors.
I set the standard.
I'm gonna make you one too, dude. I'm gonna make you. Now that I
said-
know your style,
I said, well, I won best dressed in high school. I had that, or I could have chosen best hair.
ooh,
I was nominated
dude.
for them
Carl checked all the boxes. You're being humble, bro, but Carl was OG, bro. All you stupid basketball coaches want to talk crap, bro. This guy was OG.
Thank you.
All
Thank
you really
Thank
guys gonna give this guy a hard time?
You know what I'm saying? Like
You should have just joined wrestling, bro. We'd have made you top G. Shout out to Andrew Tate.
You know what? And I actually regret not doing that. Trying that.
I would have took you under my wing.
Think about it.
I took
See-
Philip Gonzalez, CJ, all those guys, bro.
The top.
You could have been a part of the crew.
The best wrestlers I know.
You
know?
could have thrown. You could have thrown all of us around.
Those guys could have went through it. They can start WWE tomorrow. You know.
Were you in any of those guys' grades? Phillip?
CJ's one of my best.
So was
friends.
CJ in your grade?
CJ's 1 year older than me now.
So you were in Phillips' grade.
Yeah, me and Phil go back way back. To
So me and
elementary.
Phillip-
Lamar said.
Man, Phillips
That's
one of my.
elementary. That's elementary for you guys. We're talking about like 3rd grade. You know, just developing a sense of self, let alone identity. I told you, identity. If you don't have that by age 21, then y'all niggas shouldn't be drinking. Y'all shouldn't be smoking and doing it, because that's furthermore, you know, ruining and causing said problem.
Yeah.
You know, you're running away from your problem.
Right.
These become vices. Drugs become vices. And we living in that time, that epidemic and whatnot, to where people want an escape. But what I'm saying is,
You can't run forever though. Eventually, you gotta face the truth.
exactly.
And you don't want to make that big monster so big that when you finally face the truth, you have a panic attack.
Exactly. And so for me, like, it was easy until things began to spiral out of control. You begin to make one mistake that, you know, adds to another mistake, and it grows into this one big monster that, just like Josh said, that's why I say ATG is the place to be. And I hope you don't mind if I use that as a line, as a bar.
Actually, you're the first to say that.
I know, I created it.
Let's say it together. ATG is the place to be. Oh,
You know, and I could fit in a song. That's a bar. And so, but you know, I can't go through and say Donald Trump's name, or
you just said it too late.
Well, the point is, people will sue over the silliest things, because you said this. And all of a sudden, they think they deserve credit.
Hey, you said that, so you must be a part of this crowd. You said that, so you must be this person.
Well, everyone's entitled. If you made money and you use my brand, my name, I'm formally asking, man to man, younger, I guess this generational type of like community. I'm like, I respect and love this brand so much. ATG is the place to be.
That's true. Hey, and people, like I said, If you want to know what the brand stands for, obviously against the grain. But when you think of going against the grain, and I've said this so many times on the pod,
Get
but
deep.
for your
Get deep.
for your listeners, the people who are your followers who are listening for the first time,
Yes.
when you go against the grain, think about this. When everyone is going this way, you got to go the other way, okay? Don't be afraid to stand out and be that weirdo who ain't afraid to stick to your roots, your north, south, east, west.
Just because times
Just because
change.
everyone's saying, no, that's stupid.
Times
Don't do that.
change.
Don't do that.
Times
blah, blah,
change.
blah. Be your own self. What's your own truth?
No matter what. No matter what. Times change. And so when we're talking about, whether we're talking about women's rights, which...
Whoa, we went there.
We went there. Which confused slavery and the Emancipation Proclamation and like overall the black community. Divide and conquer. When we think about stuff like that, then we start thinking about against the grain. What is really right? You see
The thing that Instagram stands for, this is it. Let me just sum it up real quick.
Yeah.
Against the grain is individuality.
Yes.
Everyone has their own story worth telling.
Yes.
Don't put yourself in a box.
And opinion.
People were asking me, what's your podcast about? Is it a comedy podcast, motivational podcast? Is it an inspirational podcast? The second I give it one of those titles, it puts me in a box.
Exactly.
It's whatever I want it to be. How about that?
And then your credibility is parallel.
That's
to
true.
That. So now, all of a sudden, if you have a comedic type of podcast,
Yeah.
you're not to be taken serious.
Hey, I thought you were a motivational podcast. Why are you guys being funny? Hey, I thought you were a funny podcast. Why are you guys being serious?
But moreover,
stupid, bro.
Moreover, if you're a funny podcast, you're not to be taken serious.
Yeah.
But that's so...
But you know what? This is what against the grain
thinking.
is too, though. Don't take yourself too seriously.
That's my problem, though.
Okay.
And that's why you gave me a lot to think about tonight.
Just let it go.
As far as like...
Give it up to God sometimes. Sometimes some things are better off left in God's hands.
You know what? I'm going to say this right now while it's fresh on my mind. You sound like my uncle Clyde is his name. Clyde Russell. And
Shout out to Clyde.
if we know anything about the Navajo Nation and all this kind of stuff, the last name Russell holds a lot of clout. I know this as being half Navajo, being recognized on the reservation with my CIB, Certificate of Indian Blood. 25% is the standard, but I exceed that.
You're 50, dude.
Right?
Straight
I
up.
exceed that. But I know so much that I go through and rep it in every way possible, in all of its majesty. And my Uncle Clyde has stage, I think what they said was he has liver failure. They took 10.2 units of liters of fluid from his abdomen because his liver's not doing the right work it's supposed to be doing.
Filtration.
And they said that was the most that they've ever seen at UNM Hospital. The fact that he's still living today, and that I've been visiting him every single day. He was admitted this past Thursday. I've been there 3 consecutive days, and Carl lives at home. The vulnerable, emotional, intelligent, but maybe too much for his own good, Carl. He lives at home by himself and internalizes this stuff. But if I am to be seen in public, that's whenever I hope you don't just take disrespect, because I did put my shoes on your table.
That was awesome. By the way, do not apologize.
I appreciate that, but you see that, you know what I'm saying? Like most people, like if you were in a meeting, like has to do with business, you don't put your feet on the desk.
We're not business.
I get that.
I'm not a businessman.
I love that about you.
I'm a human man.
I love that about you, and that's why I can say, ultimately, I realize who my real friends are.
I'm praying for Clyde too, man. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know about that about your uncle.
But he has more problems than that. He went through and he overcame cancer before this. So you have to understand the level of, it's never too late for the audiences to fix your life. But don't let things build on one another.
Right.
Because even in that sense, if he overcame cancer, He's had heart work.
Right.
He's had... You can only be lucky so many times. You told me a cool story about Matt, about how you hit a game winning shot and whatnot. How many times do you think you're going to go through and make that shot if you just stood in that same spot and shot it 100 times?
Never. Matt had faith in me, bro. That was the only reason I made that shot.
Right? And so God had faith in my uncle, my family. He had family behind him. That. So Carl has a certain level of pain and everything that comes with him. But if you allow yourself these excuses like we talked about, and this is the part where I might have to put back my glasses, because I don't like to be vulnerable.
I'll put mine on with you.
DJ Epoch doesn't like to be vulnerable. I'm letting you know that right now.
Oh, you can be on the ATG pod though.
Carl can. DJ Epoch refuses to be. He's very angry. He doesn't ask for rights.
Shout out to the Hulk.
Right? He doesn't ask for rights. He tells the government, we were offered 40 acres, a mule, and $100 with interest. Fuck you. So DJ Epoch has to be strong for the community.
I respect that.
But Carl Ryan, Quabbin, and Ntiforo is losing an uncle who taught him how to roof. I know how to roof a house. Like these are...
That's a hard thing to do, by the way.
Intangible talents, skills, trades that the school system doesn't teach you from K through 12.
Right.
Let's look at Dr. Carter G. Woodson, his book written in the 1930s, The Miseducation of the Negro. What do you have to do with those slaves after you emancipate them? Now we talk about why college was built.
Right.
Are you good enough to be working on my site? And so I stand for something bigger than myself, bigger than my brother, and everything you say about about me and about my roots and stuff. My identity has grown a Googleplex since then, and I can only say I got QED'd. For those listening, that's an acronym for Quod Erat Demonstratum, which is Latin, a dying language, but so is Navajo. Navajo Code Talk is a acronym for what was to be demonstrated. And what you demonstrated to me was that my brother, he lives with you always, but sometimes maybe you take that for granted because you're not listening to his lessons, and then you go through and make mistakes.
Right.
And when a person makes a mistake, you have to atone for that, and then you can always come back.
Right.
But don't let it build that much.
Don't let it build that much.
And that's what you, like I said, you sent me home with my homework. As much of a philosopher, as a DJ, as I,
dude,
as a mathematician, as I think that I am, I ain't shit, and I can always learn something.
But dude,
new
that's the one of your strengths, though, is that you don't think that you're all that.
Thank you.
Because some of these people in life think that they are all that.
Yes.
And that's their default. But that's their downfall. I mean.
Well, I'll say.
So just what I will say is just stay humble, man.
I'll say the people who think that are the same people who have a power of authority, who are at that level. Whether you're President Donald Trump, and that's why he thinks that you can. So if you think that's the most extreme level. Right.
It's just an example.
Right. Or we could talk about police officers.
Yeah.
Across the nation. You're given a little bit of authority, power. Yeah. So people who have been vetted for it on one level or another. People who refuse to stay humble and refuse to believe that they can learn more. Every day they can learn more. Dude,
that's the thing is...
I know I can.
Once you stop learning, you stop growing. Once you stop getting humiliated, Amen. You stop growing.
Amen.
Every day that you're humiliated is a lesson to be learned.
Amen.
So, every day that you're struggling, every day there's something to learn from that. You're building yourself up. That's every DMX. Day you're adding this different bit of armor.
DMX says that.
What was the name of that song that you sent me from DMX? I'm gonna have our audience listen to it.
Well,
The one that you said, listen to this. This is.
Yes. Well,
And we're gonna sum it up here pretty soon, but I want to give our audience some homework.
Slipping.
Look up "Slippin'" by DMX.
Because that's what I'm living through right now. That's how I felt at some point.
Do you have Spotify too?
I have Spotify. I have Tidal.
Okay, Tidal.
Yeah, and that's a black-owned company and whatnot.
What's the name of your Instagram?
Well, I'm on Spotify too as DJ Epoch. Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm my own. I'm vertically integrated.
I'm not.
For those who don't know what that means you need somebody for something. I'm vertically integrated. Nipsey Hussle. Shout out to the late and great Nipsey Hussle, who even coined that term on his song Victory Lap. I'm vertically integrated. Y'all niggas blew it. You know? They say Nipsey Hussle dumb it down. You might, but this ain't that weirdo motherfucking rap y'all niggas used to. And so he's a OG who he had his own clothing shop, but he didn't want to leave the hood. And that's one thing that
That's why people love him so much, though.
But that's also why he died.
But you know what?
Dr. Dre moved out of the hood.
Hey,
He's smart.
but he died. Hey, but did he not die staying true to himself?
True, but would I move out of the hood? And that's what I have to ask myself.
Hey, isn't that crazy how we were literally like less than a mile away from each other and want to go?
And that's what I was going into, is that you lived in the hood. You know, that's Bompton. You go to that's Bompton.
People do not know. And I know we like to act like, you know, we got it all together, but me and Carl were literally neighbors about a month ago. And when you drive through that spot, you got to watch out.
The spot being set, Catherine is one of the streets. That's the horizontal
I was
street.
off Copper and San Mateo.
You have a radius and you have a certain diameter of that circle, but I'll say the heart of it. When you think about Jay-Z, the heart of the city, you know, ain't no love
in the heart of the city. Da-na-na-na. Ain't no love in the heart of town. That's one of my favorite songs.
I love that, but it's so true. You
know? But it's so relatable.
It is. First, the Fuji's gonna break.
But like people like who are from out of town or something get so scared of like people walking around. But like,
listen to this.
It's just our norm.
No, and that's just it. We know the norm. ATG. That is the most. KOB ain't got shit on it. Y'all want to know the news? Y'all want to know the haps? What's the haps?
Shout out to ATG.
Yes, ATG is the place to be. Like I said,
because you trademarked that, bro. I'm gonna have to give you some.
Well, I'm gonna put you on the
rights.
credit. Nah, well, thank you. If you grant me rights to say it.
Hey, actually,
that's why I say if you grant
ATG
is the place
is the place to be.
So if you allow me to use that, I'll give you a credit.
Let's say it one more
on
time.
My album,
ATG
is the motherfucking place to be.
Oh, and then he added a little bit.
Here we go on the background, boys.
If you had one last message to the audience, what would you say? Just to sum it all up. And I'm gonna have you back on the pod, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because there's so much more
That's what I was gonna say. We didn't even touch half of the subject.
A quarter of it.
But we're gonna go. We're gonna go meet up with some friends that we haven't seen in a while.
That needs to happen.
And the night is young.
It is.
What would you say to the audience?
I would say,
so a lot of our audience is in middle school.
Yes.
They're young men.
Yes.
Trying to find their identity.
That's where I was a substitute teacher.
What would you say to them?
And I was balling up those guys, throwing them the Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway.
No, what would you say to her?
I'm saying is I relate with the young men that much that I'm humble enough to go through it at recess.
Right.
Play it. I'm a substitute teacher, licensed. I still have my education assistant license.
Okay, so as a substitute teacher, what would you tell her?
I tell these kids, both
look at them in their eye and mean it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm serious. No,
hey, you better.
No, are you serious? And both as a substitute, being a professional, knowing that your life's on the line. Listen to 50 Cent. They don't.
Hey, listen to 50 Cent, kids.
Well,
get rich or die trying. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Well, right.
Dude, I grew up listening to 50 Cent with a CD holding it like a pizza.
NWA2, right?
Okay.
People get it wrong. You know,
shout out to our young wrestlers, our young basketball players, all of these kids who just finished 6th grade.
Yes.
We were all once there.
Exactly.
We were all once trying to figure out, am I supposed to get the girls? I don't have the girls. Am I supposed to do the sports? What am I supposed to do right? All of the cool kids are breaking the rules.
No, you define what's cool. And that's what I teach my nephew, who is going into high school now. I tell him, be in band. That's just dope. Because if you can play a saxophone on DJ Epic's, you know what I'm saying?
And you know what else I will say? And I wish I knew this at a young age. The loudest in the room isn't always the smartest in the room.
They're not the smartest. They're probably the dumbest. And
the first day of 7th grade, there's a kid making jokes, being loud, being whatever. Everyone attracts to him.
Do you remember your first day of 7th grade?
Don't follow the crowd. Yeah. Probably. I think I'm almost got in a fight.
Can you tell me a highlight of it? Like, what you take back from it? Like, I'll compare my story too. Well, I'll start. My first day of 7th grade, I saw 2 8th graders fighting like it was mother effing UFC. What are we on right now? UFC, whatever. I saw 2 men. In my eyes, I just came from 6th grade. Like elementary school.
Like, what is this, bro?
They are fighting, like,
trying to break each other's skulls.
Kill each other. Send each other to the ER.
And those of you who went to Belen, that was almost every other day. And so shout out to our security guard, Ruby.
That's true. I hope she has a good retirement
pension. She broke up some fights.
Good pension. And this. But I have to ask you, what is your memory of your first day?
Dude, I don't know, man. What stuck out? I remember I had like 7th grade crushes. I was like...
But what stuck out? You developed those.
Dude, I don't know. I just remember thinking like, whoa.
Whoa, because of some...
girls were the only thing on my mind, to be honest.
It was also a different atmosphere.
Like, I was having classes with all these other... And I'm like, whoa, this girl is beautiful.
Because it
yeah, so to be honest, my first day of 7th grade was just like, wow. And so there's a bunch of hot girls.
And so then I tell the youth, your listeners, basically...
think with your big head, not your... No,
Yes. And listen to what's being thrown around you. I knew I dressed well at a young age. People wanted to go through and touch my hair, which in political science is considered a microaggression, it's racist. Like, you don't need to touch the guy's hair. You know he's black.
Right.
But then I say, just ignore all the noise. This ain't Fox. This ain't CNN. This the against the grain. Be the person who succeeds.
Right.
Because, again, 1% of any and all court cases go to trial. 1%.
Be a leader. Stand out. Be yourself.
Those are the people who went against the grain. Because the 99%.
If you want to know why people aren't liking you, is because you're not being your true self.
Fake.
But you know what? Be yourself as long as you're not hurting anyone else. That's my only rule.
Amen. True. You have to have a positive message.
All right, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Mm-hmm. Drop your Instagram. It's at DJ Epoch.
DJ_Epoch.
DJ_Epoch. I'm going to drop it in the bio. Carl, it's been a pleasure, bro. Honestly, much love, bro. You're ATG fam for life. Yes. You already knew that before you were a guest on the pod.
I did.
You didn't have to ask twice. I put my mom above you. I'm sorry. But you know...
you put your platform on the line for me. And
I did, man.
And for that, you are forever in my circle. And if you... It goes to meet the Fockers and whatnot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once you're out of your circle, once you're out of the circle, once you're out of the family, you're out for life.
Hell yeah.
I have to say, through all my trials and tribulations, I don't trust anybody.
It's all good, man.
But in all of that, the youngsters, you better recognize the real.
You have to.
The people.
You're north, south, east, west. I've said it so many times.
The pure people.
Who are the ones?
Don't lose touch with them.
Don't lose touch with them.
And I didn't lose touch with you.
I never did.
I just had to make sure I was prepared.
And you were.
And that's what this is.
I think this is one of the most best podcasts we've ever done, bro.
Amen. Thank you so much.
The fact that you put your heart out there, it's so relatable. And like you said, you learned a lot from this pod.
Yes.
Dude, I learned a lot from you.
Thank you.
Let's take one last pick. We're on video.
Boom. But
I'm going to take a screenshot and this for our, we're going to share this for the audience. Throw it up.
Let's do it. Bro, the west side
episode
you know what I'm saying? Peace, thumbs up, you know, it's all good, you know what I'm saying? Hawaiian,
Against the Grain, episode 61. This year is gonna be legendary. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you guys have listened this long and you haven't subscribed, are you really even ATG?
Oh, you,
I love you guys. Let's send it, baby.
sir.